Hey, 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 my name's Misty and I am a manifesting coach. If we haven't met before, today I have one of my good friends through Facebook, Vic Della Pello, with us. And Vic has been doing something that I think is really fun and inspiring. And he's been a musician his whole life. And so I have him here today to talk about his love of music and his interesting way of showing it. Hey, Vic, how you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for
Good.
asking. Tell us a little bit about your history of you being a musician and so we have a little backstory on you.
All right. Well, I have been a musician for as long as I can remember. I've had a guitar in my hand since I was this big. And, I've always played guitar. I later studied in college. I've had my bands. And then I think through that, the natural progression was to, try and write my own material. I mean, I had bands in high school and we used to write our little, kind of punky rock songs or whatever those songs were.
Right.
And it's just something I've always done, and I've had other jobs throughout the years, but the music was always something that was constant. I've always played in bands. And then recorded my CDs throughout the years. I've recorded maybe 13, CDs or whatever they're called. I call them albums.
Yeah, because that's the time frame we're from.
Because that's where I'm from. I still listen to
That's
albums.
MP3s and downloads for the kids.
And that's what it was. And then around maybe, I don't even know, I would have to say 15, 16, 17 years ago, I was in a construction business, family business, and I just ended that. I just couldn't do it anymore. And so I just continue to play and I do bar gigs and cover gigs and still record, and I teach. The teaching is a really important thing for me.
To share the love, right?
Well, I enjoy teaching. I think I've learned a lot throughout the years, and not only that, I realize that what I've learned and what I've done is just it's valuable to a lot of people.
It is. It's very valuable, especially because I have a young son that is learning to play the drums right now, and his drum teacher is very valuable to us. He is one of the things that we are not willing to sacrifice right now when we all are making a little bit of cutbacks because of financial instability in some households. I have this YouTube channel, but my side gig was still my 25 years of doing hair in my house. And so that is extinct right now. And I heard you say something a few minutes ago about that when you went full-time in the music business, after coming out of the construction, that you were playing a lot of bar gigs and playing in little roadhouses and such through New Jersey and New York. And so that has come to an end for you right now too.
Yes, it has. But the other thing about lessons is this. I have a lot of adults. I do teach children through another program, through another company. But I also think that a lot of my students, they're all quarantined. Obviously, everybody's
quarantined.
And I think because we have these weekly things and this weekly rapport, like some of them miss that. A large part of my lesson with some of my students that I've had 3-4 years.
Right.
It's what's going on. I mean, I know a lot about their lives. I know their lives. I know, it's a relationship. It's almost, you know what I mean? It's almost like therapy in a lot of ways.
Yes, it is. I'm sure.
So now using the platforms like video, Zoom and stuff like that. It's like I was saying before, I've had to kind of adjust a bit of my teaching style because I can't do it in real time. I can't necessarily play along. It just doesn't sync up properly.
Right.
But everybody seems to enjoy it. So
yeah, because you're still getting that FaceTime. We're still having communication, and connection is so important right now. I think it's so important.
It also forces everybody to up their computer skill game a little bit.
And that's what I was
writing. I mean, I have to send emails. I have to, stuff like that too.
Like copy a link and send it to what? I know I'm struggling, and I'm so used to having these girls that have been with me since I started this YouTube a year ago, and they're so smart, and the kids were so far advanced when it came to technology, and now we need their help more than ever. Thank God they're quarantined with their parents. They can help them do this kind of thing. So I want to talk about your Facebook situation that you're doing, but I want to real quick talk about how I actually know you. So my boyfriend George and you were lifelong friends, right? Like childhood friends. And we were in New Jersey last year, maybe a year and a half ago.
Was it?
And
Yeah. It
yes.
was the last summer. I think it was the summer before.
Okay, so we've been there 4 times in the last 6 months
But I could
prior
be.
to this. So, and we love coming up there, and we have so many people that we want to see every time we come, and sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. But we had never met before, and your name had come up several times at some parties and some friends' houses, and some wonderful memories were shared, and there was toast to you. And then that night when we went to bed, George and I had a conversation, and he was like, I really need to hook up with Vic again. And I was like, yes, you do. And you need to say it out loud, like, and so it will come true, because that's what I teach, vision boards and manifesting. And this is how fast somebody's manifestation can work. So we were staying with some good friends, and we had some extra tickets to a concert, and they decided to come with us. And so 6 of us went total. We had these great seats. We made friends with the security guard that was walking up and down the row. And towards the end of the show, maybe the second to last or the third song, he came and he got George and I, and he moved us up to the second or third row. And I feel this presence over me, and it's shaking me. And it was you. And you said, is that George? And I said, it is. And I turned to George, and I didn't know who you were. And I tapped him, and he said, Vic. And it was you.
Right.
And you guys reconnected on Facebook.
It's funny. It's really funny when things like that happen. So I sometimes call it summoning the ghost. When you haven't really mentioned or seen somebody in a while, and their name comes up, and then they call.
It's a manifestation. That's exactly how it happens.
What it is.
Yes, you speak.
And, for me, it's such a funny thing, because at that concert, I remember it was Jeff Beck and George and I had a great love of that music, so being there with another friend of mine, I'm saying, that's George. Is that George? You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's a wonderful surprise.
I know. I loved it. I love that story, and I love sharing it with my clients that I'm trying to teach, like, to really think about what you want in your life and be careful what you say out loud, because it's definitely going to happen.
Well, that's the other side of it, right?
Yes. It has good and bad. You can manifest good and bad. I literally told George, we were sitting outside a few days ago, and I said, oh, I hope a bird doesn't poop on me. And I'm not kidding. Like 30 seconds later, a bird pooped on me. And I was like, I know better than this. I've got to watch what I say. So I'm so glad that he spoke you into existence, and that we saw you that night. That was so wonderful. And I'm glad that you guys were able to reconnect over Facebook, the magic of Facebook and technology. And so that does bring us back to your inspirational thing that you're doing right now, your bathrobe series. And you're dressed. I'm actually a little
bathrobe sessions. The bathrobe sessions for this. Look, when all this was starting to come down, and everybody was advised to shelter in place, I knew that, and tours were canceling, musicians, bands were tours were canceling, and nobody was, my gigs were getting canceled.
Right.
I knew that there was going to be a lot of action on the internet. Now, for me, this goes both ways, and I had told you before. Part of me at first resisted in kind of doing this because of this one factor. I wanted to actually get away from social media. You start reading all this stuff, and you can waste a lot of time on social media, and a lot of it's worthless. A lot of it's untruths. A lot of it's entertaining. A lot of it's fun. A lot of it's useful too. You know what I mean? But I knew there was going to be this great influx of this stuff, and I wanted to just kind of consciously say, you know what, I need to back off a little bit here, because I just didn't want to fall into that trap.
I know.
I didn't want to do it. I wanted to make sure people were all right, but then at the same time, and I didn't want to scroll through thousands of posts and sit here and be this guy all day doing this. I think it's a valid thing for people to do. It's entertainment in a lot of ways, So with that being said, a week or so went by, and I was watching friends of mine and watching some live streams, and I was watching some things and whatnot. But I had put on a record that I had pulled out from my collection, and it was came across this song by a band called the Waterboys. It's called "Has Anybody Here Seen Hank?" And one of the things I was going to do is during this time is learn some new songs to put into my repertoire a little bit.
Well, yeah, it's the perfect time to
You know, learn a couple of new things each week, just so that whenever this does come back, you know, I'll have some new things to play. You know? So I said, oh, you know, I always liked this song, and I picked up my guitar, and I was fooling around. I kind of figured out the chords. I pulled up the lyrics online, and I said, oh, let's, you know, and then a couple passes. Not that it wasn't that difficult of a song, and I'd known the song for years, you know, so it was kind of in my head. And I said, I just played this. And then I set up my phone and I said, oh, I'm going to record this and I'll post it. You know, so, you know, there I go. And I was wearing my bathrobe, and I just thought it was funny. And I literally like that. There was no other thought about it. So how these things happen, which, you know, as they transpire. So I put it up there, and suddenly, you know, my friends and people were saying, oh, that's great. Send us more, send us more, send us more.
Right.
So now now it's expected.
I know. I saw it today, and they were like, where is your bathrobe? And you said you were too lazy to go upstairs and get it. That's so awesome. I love that, because I love that so many people are enjoying it, number one, and that, you know, it's taking up, like you said, the valuable time of the mindless scrolling and any kind of negativity, and you really are bringing like this super fun, positive thing, and it's so wonderful. I love it.
I didn't want to, and I also didn't want to make it something where, and which I haven't really, you know, discuss facts, you know, death tolls,
right?
Anything political or religious. I wasn't going to go there. I just wanted to make like, hi, how are you? You know,
yes.
It's a bit of a joke. It's very casual.
It's so,
you know, the other thing being with the way I'm doing it too is that, you know, I'm just kind of setting up an iPad and recording it and posting it. I could set up microphones and do a whole production, and
right.
I just didn't want to make it that precious. I just wanted to keep it fun. Mistakes and all. If there's mistakes, if I miss a chord, if I, you know what I mean? Just, that's what it is, you know? And through that, I think it becomes fun. And then what happened so then I said, okay, well now I'm going to do something else. And I really want to just do odd stuff that people who come see me play normally wouldn't hear me play, or something that I hadn't played in a long time.
Yeah.
And so that was like the second day, and I did a Phil Collins tune, but then the requests start coming in.
I know. I love that.
So now, because I love my friends, and I'm like, oh, well, that's an interesting thing, you know, to bring up, or people bring up these old tunes from some of my older records that I haven't played in years. You know what? Now I have to go back, and it's become a fun thing for me, because now I have to go back and kind of research myself a little bit.
Yeah. It's good. It's a good thing all the way around.
You know, and that's what it is. And I can say this. You know, I've started this thing. I'm going to see it through as far as I can. There are days where I'm kind of like, oh, I got to do this thing. It's not that I'm doing anything special, but at the same time, it's, you know, sometimes you're just not.
I know.
You're just not inspired. All right, so you're not inspired, and that's okay.
It's okay. And I think that's the best part, though, is that you are doing it whether or not you're inspired, and, you know, you're in your bathrobe and you're like, I'm just going to do this thing. And I think that in a way, I feel like you are giving people hope by doing these things. And we see people doing all kinds of things that is their talent. Like you said, there's lots of musicians that are doing this, you know, streaming and things. And then there's all these ladies that know how to sew, that are making these masks, and all of these little wonderful things that we're able to do for each other when we're not able to give each other a hug or be together is so important, don't you think? I think you're doing that. Staying in touch. I think a lot of people are just, you know, and again, when people say I look forward to this every day, or people mention little things or tag me and stuff like that, you know, it's a lot of fun, and it makes me feel good, and it does make me feel connected. Some people, like, again, some people that I wouldn't normally even talk to, or people that were friends of mine, have popped out of the woodwork through this thing. You know what I mean? Awesome.
A lot more people. let's face it, a lot more people are online. Those with Facebook accounts, you know, who, you know, casually use it on occasion, make a post once every 5 months, are suddenly on this thing every day.
Yeah.
Because it's, you know, it's a source of entertainment. It's also a source of news. It's a source of this.
Right.
The other thing that happened too was that, which I thought was funny, and this is how these things develop. Now, I don't know if this is going to happen, but so my friend Sonia and Frank have a little boy named Archie. Archie hangs out with us on the beach, and he's a lot of fun. So Sonia wrote, you know, oh, Archie saw your thing. He wants you to do Wheels on the Bus. Right?
Oh.
I used to do children's music classes.
Okay.
So I thought, and then yesterday, I think it was yesterday. Yesterday was Monday.
Yeah, right. What day is it?
And I was thinking, oh, what do I do today? You know, I was having one of those moments, and I said, oh, I'm gonna do Wheels on the Bus for Archie.
Archie was your inspiration.
And Archie loved it.
Good.
You know? So now it's turning into, should Monday be Children's Song Day? Maybe, you know.
It's a development. It's a work in progress. I love that. I love it. I love it. And I love watching George when he comes in. He is still working. He has a job where he's not really in contact with people. And so he's able to leave for a few hours and go to work. And when he gets back, and you can kind of tell it wears on him a little bit just being out. It's, you know, everybody's complaining about being home, but for all the people that have to leave home, it's a little unnerving to wonder, you know, am I being as safe as I can be? Did I really not come in contact with anybody? Is this box that I'm touching, has it been infected? And so when he comes home and he gets outside in the yard and sits in the yard and has a beer and watches your video the other day, I saw him, he had this huge smile on his face, and it makes me so happy to see him smile like that. When I went out and saw what it was, I was even happier. So Vic, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you if you wouldn't mind playing one of your original songs, because I am posting this video to YouTube and I don't want to get a copyright strike. And even more important, I'd love to hear exactly what you've been doing and some of the music that you've created.
I will. I'll play you a song.
Awesome. Thank you.
And if anybody, I guess I don't know what you're doing, if anybody wants to follow this.
Yes, we'll try to put all your links in the bio underneath this video, but let's remember that yours truly is doing that, and she is becoming a little skilled, but not really.
All right, so this song here I'm going to do for you. I haven't played this one in a while, but then this is what you get.
That's
you know,
right.
It's words and
I
all.
get everything but the bathrobe.
Everything but the bathrobe. I know. I was outside doing some gardening today. But this is a song off of a record I did. I did this record a couple of years ago called Broken Heart Tattoo. And one of the songs on there is a song called Call Me Up. And I think you'll get the gist of what this is about.
Okay, let's do it.
Here we go. Call me up sometime. If you're looking for a friend, call me up sometime. Call me up sometime. I'll fix your heart. Call me up sometime. Well, I had a few of my own, and I've been through this up and down. Call me up and down again. Call me up sometime. I just want to talk. You could say anything. If you need someone, well, you know where to find me. And I'll be right here hanging at the end of the line. Call me up sometime, just to say hello. Call me up sometime. Call me up sometime. If I'm on your mind, call me up sometime. Yeah, 'cause you were on my mind at the same time, and I picked it up, put it down, but I picked it up and I called you again. Call me up sometime. I just want to talk, tell you everything. If you need someone, well, you know where to find I'm the one who wants you. And I'm the one, I just need to hear your voice. I just called to know if everything's alright. Oh, yeah. Oh, if you need someone, you know where to find me. Yeah, I'll be right here waiting at the end of the line. I'm someone who wants you, and I'm the one, I just need to hear your voice. I just called to know if everything's alright. Yeah, it's alright. Everything's alright.
Oh my gosh. I love that song. I'm literally trying not to cry right now because I honestly think that that is the perfect song for everybody right now.
You know, songs like that, sometimes for me as a songwriter, and it's funny because different people connect to different songs. I've written a lot of songs, some good, some I'm not even connected with. You know, it's a funny thing because if I think, and what I've also tried to do in this thing is I'll talk a little bit about it. Sometimes it's a little nonsense, you know, because my thoughts are, it's so off the cuff. But you know, this song is one of those, again, started off as one of those things where it's like, if you were ever in that position, probably in a relationship that was breaking up,
Right.
and he's like, should I call?
I know.
Don't call, and you call. And then like that, which is kind of the was the inspiration for it, so to speak.
Right.
But really, if I listen to it now, and sometimes
That's
how it
whole
is,
new meaning.
it's a bit of a different meaning. It's just about being in contact, you know what I mean? Thinking of that person, you know, and it's not as you know, specific as
Right.
you know, as sometimes what it starts out to be, you know.
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Oh my gosh.
Thank you very much.
So much. Vic, tell everybody where to find you.
You can find me in a couple places. Vic Della Pello on Instagram. And then there's 2 Facebook pages. The best one really is my, I think it's Vic Della Pello Music.
Okay.
All one word. Della and Pello is 2 L's and 2 L's.
I just said yesterday, what a beautiful name you have too.
Thank you very much.
You have a beautiful name. You are a beautiful person. You play beautiful music.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vic. We're going to go ahead and tell everybody goodbye. I'm going to do my best to put all of the links in the bio and the description down below. And like Vic said, you can watch this video over and over again and you can hear him sing that beautiful song to me. Vic, thank you so much. And to everybody else, happy manifesting.
Be well. Thank you.
Oh. My gosh, that was so sweet. That was so beautiful.
I'm glad you liked it. It was easy. You make it easy. You know what else? I thought it was fun because